changing the date. Okay. And try again. We're going to go live and we're going to do one couple things. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before we start, I always take my time to do something over here because technology moves everywhere and I want to make sure that everybody is watching us and have access to this interview. Very important. Share to, see, that's how we do it. We share to everybody and we share to different groups over there. Okay, we are live and we've been having a little technical difficulties, Mr. Giovanni, but here we are again. Tonight, October 23rd, we have a special guest. I want to introduce you to the public that's watching us right now. We have Mr. Giovanni Antonuccio, General Manager, Client Services at APM Terminal, right? Am I correct?
Yes, thank you. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, and thank you for taking the time to come over here. And before we do that, we know we have to put the time because we want to know how long we're going to be talking. We don't want to bore anybody out there. Well, for the people that just start tuning, first of all, we're going to do a little introduction while you're here. For many years, we've been seeing a lot of changes in the terminals, but we never know what's happening. We were just talking about this 5 seconds ago. Unfortunately, you as a person who represents the APM terminal has been giving all the information to all the other organizations out there, but for some reason never trickles down to the people that use the terminal every day, and that has created a big conflict. And the reason that he's here today is because he wanted to make sure that he understands what is the conflict, and he wanted to let everybody know, from owners of companies, trucking companies, from brokers to customers to the main people that we're trying to let them understand, drivers, what's happening. I know a lot of people don't want to see these things because they believe there's not going to be any changes anytime soon, that nothing has been changed in the last couple of years, but in reality, Mr. Giovanni, now we're going to go. What do you think about that? Nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change. It's going to be the same. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree with you. I think one of the most important things about change is that they're accepted, and I think it's very difficult for people to accept change if they don't see it right away. And I think the port as a whole has always been behind the 8 ball with communicating, not because we don't want to. It's primarily because there's so many stakeholders involved with a single container, right? So you have the shipper, the importer, a broker, a steamship line, the longshoreman handling the container, the terminal that's handling it, the truck driver that's picking it up for a trucking company that received the DO. So it just comes down to how we disseminate the information, and I think it's important. And we have not had an outlet. I'm there 16 years. Only recently have I been put in contact with outlets to actually touch the trucking community directly. And we do so through the Bi-State Motor Carriers, New Jersey Truckers Association, and now also Port Driver Association. And that's why I'm here tonight, to be totally honest, is we do want to make a difference. We do want to show you what we're doing at the terminal, because there's a lot of big plans. There's a lot of big money being invested. APM recently invested over $230 million since 2017, and we're continuing to invest to make sure we get our terminal up to the standards where the cargo can move fluidly and everybody can make a decent pay picking up their containers, at the terminal.
We're going to start with something that we already did in the agenda. Like I say, in the last years, I've been in the industry for 25 years myself, and I remember APM the old days. So for the people that have been working the force, you have to be happy now compared with 20 years ago.
Oh, I see. Sealand?
Sealand was something that we used to see on a Friday night, sit down there, wait the lines all the way down to where 64 is now, and it's a long story. We don't have time for
that. But see, this is the problem. Everybody tells me when it was Sealand, it was much better. When I got hired, it was Maersk Sealand, so it was just after the acquisition. When Maersk purchased Sealand, 1998, I believe is the year. So I was right there on the cusp when they just took over, and we were moving away from a wheeled operation more to a grounded operation.
Well, that's something new for me. You see, 1998, that's when everything changed. And you're right, that's when everything started changing, because I remember the movement started in 1999.
I was still in high school in 1998, but I just know from back then. But yeah, and you're precisely right. And again, if we can do better communicating that and telling this story, maybe it would help everybody understand much better.
But that's exactly what you see. A lot of people try to ask me why that I'm trying to do with having these kind of meetings. The idea is this: after we've been trying for many years to understand what is the problem, and one of the main problems for everybody is that we don't understand what is happening in the industry. If you don't understand what's happening, how can you tell what's going to be, what you have to prepare for? If you don't come prepared, then you have a problem, because then you have to turn around because you don't know the system, you don't know how it works, you don't know what's going to be changing, you don't know the delays or what lines are closed. So you come unprepared to work, and that costs money, that costs a lot of aggravations, and people get upset. And that's because of lack of communication. You think you agree with that, right?
Oh, sure. I mean, communication is anything.
Exactly.
It's everything in any business, right?
Yes.
The reason we do what we do today, the reason we're on Facebook, we're able to have this type of interview, is because of communication.
Yeah.
We have tools today that can help communication, and we need to make sure we're using them.
Exactly, and that's what we're trying to do here at Facebook with Pro Driver Association. We're trying to use those little tools that we have in our hands. 27 years ago, trying to have this kind of connection with you guys. We used to have meetings in restaurants, in little corners, in lunch trucks. And the more people that I think I got to speak to about 120 people one time in a meeting just like this. Now we can have 100 people right now. We can have 2,000 people by tomorrow, and by the end of next week, we're going to have 18,000 people that really understand that. So that's the difference that we're trying to come up here. We're trying to use technology. They're forcing technology out through our trucks with the ELDs and all these new systems in our trucks. So we have to start using the technology to our advantage too. So that's the reason we're doing these seminars. I mean, these meetings. And coming back to the topic, implementation of new systems. I see that you have a lot of you guys are being forced to go into a back gate where used to be chassis before. Now you have all these nice lines. What are those nice lines for the people that are trying to have an idea? What is these lines that you're creating in the back? What are they going to be doing that? Is it the implementation of the new system that will reduce number 2?
So, how the implementation of the new system will help reduce problems in the lines. You're speaking about outbound. Correct. So we did notice that there's quite a delay in outbound, and I can tell you why that's happening. We recently invested about $230 million in the terminal itself over the past 3 years.
Okay.
That included equipment that we purchased, IT upgrades like moving from Navis Express to N4, new wharf construction we did on our south berth so we can move the cranes, and the 4 new Ultra Superpost Panamax cranes we purchased last summer that are now in berth 92. So all of those investments.
Let me. That sounds magnificent for the moment, but I want you to understand something. This is for a lot of people that are always complaining that the equipment is old, that when it's going to change.
I'm getting to that, and you cut me off.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's
what we're talking about.
I have to lay the foundation before I build the house.
Okay,
you know?
go ahead.
We invested a lot of money in the terminal, and with those investments became new equipment. You'll see outside new empty handlers, new top loaders, RTGs that were relocated from Los Angeles. We're now up to 40 RTGs. We used to have 32. What the new equipment is doing is it's servicing the trucks in the yard faster. So when you get into the terminal, you're not waiting in the runs as long as you used to. You're getting out quicker, but it's forcing more volume to our gate in more of a concentrated time. And our gate is not optimized to handle that volume. This is the same original gate from Sealand back in the early 70s. And you know the gate lanes were narrow. Truckers now with the bigger trucks, they're hitting their saddle tanks. The gate is old. So that's why we invested this money. Part of the $200 million in the modernization project is for a new gate. And you'll see when you gate into APM Terminal today, if you look to your right where the old chassis field used to be, the new gate complex, construction has been complete. It's 24 state-of-the-art inbound gate lanes, weigh-in motion scales, RFID, OCR, CCTV. So when you pull in the new entrance, when you come around McClester Street, around the turn, when it goes North Avenue to McClester, we're forcing you into the OCR shed. There's 3 doors there. You go into those doors. That's where our OCR cameras are. Those cameras are going to help populate your transaction. So by the time you get to the gate, our gate clerks, the ILA gate clerks, are going to be able to just verify your information, make sure it matches, make any adjustments if needed, and process. You no longer have to stop and talk to them as much as you used to because they're going to have the information. That's going to be 24 inbound lanes, state-of-the-art technology, similar to what PNCT and MAR uses. When we open those 24 lanes, the outbound lanes that you see now that are under our main building, where we had that meeting last month, all of
times in this industry, all these constructions come in without even knowing what they are.
Yeah.
And it's very crazy to see these lines and finding
Right.
out that nothing is like what it's to be before and how it's going to affect you.
So think of the line now. You come into APM terminals, and to all you truck drivers out there, pay attention to this.
Okay.
You're going to roadability. You're going to go into one of the garages, or you're going to go to express roadability to the left of the roadability garage. You're forced to come around the garage to make it to the right-hand side to go to the outbound lanes. Once the new gate is up, the whole building that's the current gate today will transform into 16 outbound lanes only. So essentially what we're doing is we're doubling our outbound lanes once we open the new gate.
So you see what we're talking about? And just because we've been having some issues with